Today we're going to talk about, can government stop cryptocurrency? So I want you to think about that for a moment. That's a simple question, but think about, what does it mean to stop it? Can government stop cryptocurrency? I think it just depends on what you mean by stop. Here's what can happen. And by the way, I'm thinking about this because of this news story that came out. Smart contract developers may be held liable by the SEC. We'll get to that in a moment. But let me just say this. Technically, governments cannot stop cryptocurrency. They cannot destroy a blockchain. But practically, they can pretty much make cryptocurrency useless for a while. Now, I do believe ultimately long-term cryptocurrency is going to survive, and I'm confident long-term, but I don't know if long-term is in the next decade or the next 50 years or what. But I do believe long-term cryptocurrency is going to ultimately get mass adopted, and I mean fully decentralized cryptocurrency. And I keep saying I'm going to make a video about why I'm so confident, why I believe that, maybe I should make that video. Comment down below if you want me to make that video, but I need to get to it. But the reason I haven't is because I really want to put my thoughts together, and it will be a longer video, and this is a very multifaceted topic, and I might have to put together a couple of videos in like a short series. But let me just explain something to you. If the government can't destroy the blockchain, then how can they stop cryptocurrency? What they would do is they would totally limit its use, or the usability of it. For example, if they made it, there's proof of this happening. If you look at the online poker world, and I've talked about this before on my channel, I used to play around with some online poker, and back then, and before you say, that's not the same, I'm not saying that online poker is the same. And you're right, it's totally different regulations. But back then, there was talk of online poker getting regulated by the US government, and you would hear some of the same arguments I hear when people talk about overregulation of cryptocurrency. And so what people used to say back then about online poker is, nobody can stop people from playing poker. There's going to be, that's just the US. Nobody cares about US law. This is an international game. So there'll be people playing in other countries. There's going to be some company to offer poker to US companies, etc., to US citizens, etc. They'll never kill the game, so on and so forth. And technically speaking, that ended up being correct. But from a practical standpoint, the US government practically killed poker, online poker, at least for any American. And what I mean by, and therefore, by the way, it affected the entire poker world, because just for the sheer population, all poker games shrunk in size. All online poker sites shrunk in their number of customers and clients, because you took a large pool of the market. I mean, imagine if China was a big online poker player with a trillion citizens. They don't have a trillion citizens, but they have probably a billion people over there, and all of a sudden you take that entire market away. That's a big deal. And that's kind of what happened to America. They took that entire market away. So here's what happened essentially: that online poker games went from, you could log into a poker site and they would show you in the top right hand corner, there'd be like 100,000 players online right now. Well, there are poker sites, and if you go to them and you can play on them as an American citizen, but there's like 500 or 1,000. Maybe 2,000 or 3,000 on the weekend. And I haven't played online poker in a while. It's been many months since I've even tried to log in on the site. And the last time I logged in, I literally logged in just to check the volume. But that kills the number of games. It makes it very difficult to even play. So the way they did that, they did two things. They basically confiscated the domain name of a couple of websites that were, the servers were based in the US, or at least the domain servers were. They confiscated the domain names at the time, and then it made it difficult to get on. Those websites could have opened domain names other places, and some websites that were still up doing business, smaller websites, that's exactly what they did. They went and got like .lv domains instead of .com at the time, etc. But the US government also made it illegal. They didn't come out and blatantly make it illegal. The federal government didn't make it illegal to play poker, but they made it illegal for banks to be able to transact with online poker sites. And so therefore it became very, very difficult. Like, you would have to do things like go to an online poker site, and you would have to you'd have to like sign in, and you'd have to Western Union some private citizen in Costa Rica the money. This is a true story. This is how you had to do it. And then within a few minutes, that money would show up in your poker account. That's how you're supposed to do it. That's how guys are doing it on all the poker forums. And that may be okay for your diehards, but most people aren't diehard. And most people aren't willing to do that. And so regulation, that's why, when people, scream for regulation in the cryptocurrency space, I don't think regulation is actually a good thing, because regulators always tend to over-regulate. And so this is a great example. Let's just look at this article. Smart contract developers may be held liable by the SEC. Nick Szabo invented them, but has reservations about what they've become. Vitalik Buterin adopted them, but now regrets using their name. Dangerous when coded badly, powerful when used intelligently. Smart contracts have become a critical component of the crypto economy. Their code serves as the bond that glues the tokenized ecosystem together. Now, just to add further complexity, the SEC has begun monitoring smart contracts and their creators closely. Now, this is scary if you understand what a smart contract is. Smart contracts, explain the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, provides the means for investors and market participants to find counterparties, discover prices, and trade a variety of digital asset securities. In its statement on digital asset securities insurance and trading, published November 16th, the SEC referred to smart contracts 5 times, particularly in reference to EtherDelta, whose creator was prosecuted for opening an unregistered securities exchange that ran on smart contracts he coded. What this ruling means for developers moving forward is a matter of some debate and great concern. Now, before you say, well, that only applied to EtherDelta, let's keep going. Code has often been likened to free speech, with advocates adamant that developers should not be held liable for how their code is used. In the case of EtherDelta, the prosecution of Zachary Coburn was relatively straightforward, since he personally developed the smart contract that powered the platform. In future, however, the SEC may not make a distinction between the developer of a piece of code and the end user. If the creator of a smart contract used to facilitate decentralized trading can be identified, that individual could conceivably be held liable for securities violations. As the SEC report notes, this is crazy. An entity that provides an algorithm run on a computer program or on a smart contract using blockchain technology as a means to bring together or execute orders could be providing a trading facility. As another example, an entity that sets execution priorities, standardizes material terms for digital asset securities traded on the system, or requires orders to conform with predetermined protocols of a smart contract could be setting rules. So get this, if you create a smart contract and release it on the blockchain, say the Ethereum blockchain, just by creating it, they're saying that you're responsible for creating a security. That just blows my mind. More code brings greater complexity. Morally, code is neither good nor bad. The rules governing the operation of a smart contract are simply a consequence of the behavior mandated by its creator. These rules and their permeation into every facet of the crypto economy have forced a rethink of the way cryptocurrencies and their protocols are understood. With the emergence of sidechains such as Rootstock, federated chains such as Blackstream's Liquid Network, and cross-chain products such as WBTC, the code that controls the cryptocurrency markets is becoming ever more complicated and layered, basically. Where's that? Okay. As the cryptocurrency industry's reliance on smart contract increases, regulators are going to have some difficult decisions to make. Who should be held liable when an entity conducts a securities violation, for example? The trader, the operator of the decentralized platform, or the developer who coded the smart contract? Now you think about that. First of all, I hate this question. Who should be held liable by an entity who conducts a securities violation? The problem is what they're calling a securities violation. Why is a decentralized third party, well, it's not even third party, why is a decentralized application being considered a securities violation? I can tell you why. It's because income is being created. Income streams are being created. This has been a common theme with the Securities Exchange Commission, the SEC. Anytime, and this doesn't matter, by the way, whether it's proof of weak hands, HDX20 is going to attempt to sidestep it. I see their defense by not providing a quote-unquote income stream, but I think that just because they're more closer to the white hat area, they're still going to be in a gray zone. According to the SEC, this is not, I don't agree with this per se, but it doesn't matter what I agree with. This is what I'm seeing with the SEC here, and this is what I'm thinking we're headed to. Oh, look at that. Bitcoin blows 5,000. We're going to hit $1,000 soon, baby. $1,000 soon. Get ready to buy them up. But anyway, the who should be held liable when an entity conducts a securities violation? Think about that for a moment. So what they're saying, for example, the trader. So you decide to use a decentralized exchange, you're at fault. Now you can use a financially regulated exchange where the large financial institutions and the big banks make money and make commissions, but if you use a decentralized exchange but to get cheaper, to pay cheaper fees or practically no fees, then you could be held at fault. That is crazy. The operator of the decentralized platform. So in other words, I'm assuming here they're saying if you put it on Ethereum, then Ethereum's at fault because there's no actual operator of the platform. If the platform's just posted, there's not an operator. I mean, that's what's crazy about this article. The fact that they would even, the operator of the decentralized platform, there is not an operator or the developer. And this is probably the scariest to me, and this is going to slow down developing. It's not going to stop it, but it will slow it down. Even the father of smart contracts, Nick Szabo, however you say his name, has acknowledged that despite being wholly digital, they are ultimately an agreement that mirrors a traditional contract writing. Smart contract, like contract, connotes a deal between people, but a deal intermediated and incentivized by dynamic machine-interpreted rules instead of the statistical, recorded, human-interpreted rules of a traditional contract. Now, look at this. It's pretty clear that every decentralized exchange in existence is an exchange under the formulation presented in the guidance. However, in the case of a truly decentralized exchange, there is nobody upon whom sanctions can be levied. Practically, a true decentralized exchange will survive. It could survive, but all the volume would dry up on it. If there's no orders on the other side, if you want to sell Bitcoin but there's no one on the decentralized exchange to buy Bitcoin, then it's basically useless. Now he said there's no one whom sanctions can be levied. Yes, there is. According to this article, the trader. So just by you placing trades on the decentralized exchange, you could be at risk of breaking an SEC regulation. That's mind-blowing. I mean, if you understand, I hope you're understanding the infringement on one's rights. Like, I think this is just, in my personal opinion, it's just sad. It's a sad state of affairs. But let's keep going. For U.S.-based developers who wish to remain free to code without worrying about legal liabilities, the only solution may be to remain anonymous. So a lot of times people are like, oh, how can you trust it? It's anonymous. How can you trust it? It's anonymous. This is the approach being favored by the team behind the forthcoming Grim cryptocurrency, which makes use of Mimblewimble privacy tech. It's also the approach taken by a certain Satoshi Nakamoto 10 years ago upon launching his cryptocurrency. The SEC can't prosecute whom it does not know. That's true, but who it will prosecute is it will prosecute the trader, you and I, potentially. Now, here's the thing. There's a reason Satoshi Nakamoto was anonymous, by the way, because he understood that he was creating a potential rival to a currency. That's the challenge in this entire space. When people talk about regulation in the U.S., cryptocurrency regulation, then what? And I say the U.S. because this is currently talking about the SEC, but this has this reaches far outside of just the U.S. But what people don't understand when they see regulations like this is typically regulations, in my opinion, are unfair. For example, if cryptocurrency is regulated by the SEC, or I should say smart contracts and decentralized contracts, if they eventually say, hey, these are allowed, what they'll do is they'll do what they do with certain hedge funds. You have to be an accredited investor to be able to participate. In fact, that's what's going on with ICOs right now. A lot of ICOs in the U.S. market, ICOs still exist in the U.S. market. Some people think, oh, if you're a U.S. citizen, you can't participate in ICOs. No, you can't participate in ICOs. You can't participate. My channel's blowing up today, my YouTube channel. You can't participate with ICOs if you're not an accredited investor. But if you are an accredited investor, then you can participate in them. So that's awesome, right? Let's go become accredited investors. What does it take to become an accredited investor? Let's look at it. This is off of personalincome.org. In order for an individual or a natural person to be considered an accredited investor, you must meet the following criteria. You must have a $1 million net worth. Your income, you must earn a minimum of $200,000 or a joint income of $300,000 with your spouse, or you have to own a trust in excess of $5 million. And ladies and gentlemen, you and I both know that most people in this space are not accredited investors. One of the great things about this space is it keeps it open to the little person being the average everyday person. And now, if they go the route of regulating this, then they're probably going to open it to accredited investors, just like they currently do with hedge funds. And some business investments, you have to be an accredited investor, which means that for some reason, the little person, you and I, because we don't have a net worth of $1 million, we're not allowed to be able to participate. And that's the thing about cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is currently like this free market, wild, wild west where everybody can participate. It can go up or down, et cetera, et cetera. But I personally think this is probably going to be bad. I would love to hear what you think. Please tell me what you think below. What are your thoughts on this article? What are your thoughts on regulations? The downfall is, as this develops, I think we're going to see the SEC crack down on anything, any platform, the dropables out there, the arbitrages, and even the transparent smart contracts. I think they're going to come down and start regulating everything. So I would love to hear what you think. Please put your comments down below. Do you think this is, maybe you think this is a positive thing. I would love to hear that. Or if you think it's negative, or if you think the government should quote unquote butt out. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. And I do believe long term, I'm positive on cryptocurrency. I knew this was coming. I was hoping it was going to be off for a while. I fully believe that regulation and over-regulation was on the way. But I believe that we're going to see more regulation before we ever see less regulation. And I think in the short to medium term, this is going to cause cryptocurrency development, in my opinion, to probably stall a little bit. But let me know what you think. Please put a comment down below. If you like this content, if you appreciate this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Hit that thumbs up icon. Thank you so much for watching. Also, at the end of this video, should be in the top right-hand corner, I'm going to place a playlist that I have about how you can earn passive cryptocurrency. I call it my crypto passive income strategy with absolutely no risk or no investment. At least that's the first component of it. Take a look at that playlist in the top right-hand corner. Thank you so much for watching this video and have an awesome day.